Welcome to today's Mars Weather Bulletin, where we begin by checking in on the surface rovers before moving into the three-sol forecast. Perseverance operates at Jezero Crater, where on Sol 1947 of the mission it drove 358.9 meters, bringing its total odometer to 44.97 kilometers, and that update is already 3 days old, with no newer drive published. The climatological model estimates for today at this operating mission site show a high of minus 27 degrees, a low of minus 75 degrees, winds at 102 kilometers per hour, pressure at 7.69 millibars, and a dust optical depth of 1.371. Perseverance has shared Mastcam-Z photos from Sol 1950 of the mission, captured at Jezero Crater. Curiosity operates at Gale Crater, where on Sol 4983 of the mission it drove 29.3 meters, bringing its total odometer to 38.02 kilometers, and that update is already 3 days old, with no newer drive published. The climatological model estimates for today at this operating mission site show a high of minus 29 degrees, a low of minus 73 degrees, winds at 68 kilometers per hour, pressure at 8.92 millibars, and a dust optical depth of 0.658. Curiosity has shared Navcam photos from Sol 4985 of the mission, captured at Gale Crater. Rome is dormant at Utopia Planitia, where the last published traverse record puts it at 1.92 kilometers in total on Sol 347 of the mission, and no later movement has been reported. The climatological model estimates for today at this last confirmed mission site show a high of minus 44 degrees, a low of minus 81 degrees, winds at 113 kilometers per hour, pressure at 9.14 millibars, and a dust optical depth of 1.459. InSight is retired on Elysium Planitia, and as a stationary lander it never drove, so it has no traverse distance and no odometer at all. The climatological model estimates for today at this final mission site show a high of minus 27 degrees, a low of minus 72 degrees, winds at 61 kilometers per hour, pressure at 7.74 millibars, and a dust optical depth of 0.9. On Sol 625, daytime highs average minus 31 degrees, with Olympus Mons location reaching as warm as minus 17. A dust storm dominates the sky, with dust optical depth peaking at 1.46 over Rome location. Winds gust up to 132 kilometers per hour at Olympus Mons location. Overnight lows average minus 77 degrees, with Olympus Mons location dipping as cold as minus 95. Temperatures remain consistently frigid with highs near minus 30 and lows near minus 77. Dust storms persist with optical depths around 1.4, while wind speeds decrease slightly from 134 to 111 kilometers per hour. At Rome location, pressure is 7.7 millibars, visibility is 3 kilometers, and water vapor is 9.2 micrometers. The 5-sol trend shows highs holding near minus 30, lows near minus 76, and dust optical depth gradually decreasing from 1.1 to 1.06. The crossings of Deimos and Phobos across the disk of Mars follow. Deimos makes its first crossing of the apparent disk of Mars, lasting 72 minutes. In Los Angeles, the event occurs between 9:53 in the morning and 11:05 in the morning with Mars above the horizon. In New York, it happens between 12:53 in the afternoon and 2:05 in the afternoon with Mars above the horizon, while in London, Mars is below the horizon. Phobos makes its first crossing of the apparent disk of Mars, lasting 53 minutes. In Los Angeles, the event occurs between 11:09 in the morning and 12:02 in the afternoon with Mars above the horizon. In New York, it happens between 2:09 in the afternoon and 3:02 in the afternoon with Mars above the horizon, while in London, Mars is below the horizon. Phobos makes its next crossing of the apparent disk of Mars, lasting 53 minutes. In London, the event occurs between 2:48 in the morning and 3:41 in the morning with Mars above the horizon, while in Los Angeles and New York, Mars is below the horizon. Phobos makes its next crossing of the apparent disk of Mars, lasting 52 minutes. In Los Angeles, the event occurs between 2:28 in the morning and 3:20 in the morning with Mars above the horizon. In New York, it happens between 5:28 in the morning and 6:20 in the morning with Mars above the horizon. And in London, it occurs between 10:28 in the morning and 11:20 in the morning with Mars above the horizon. Mars is currently in the constellation Gemini. For observers in New York, Mars rises at 2:02 in the morning and sets at 5:08 in the afternoon. Thanks for tuning in to Mars Weather. Stay safe on the Red Planet, and we'll see you again soon.